Thanks, Jim, for the introduction. I appreciate that. And again, welcome to our Clinical Edge webinar. And really our goal for this series is to discuss some timely topics and help build your skills and knowledge in regard to wellness, and really try to just offer some tools you can incorporate into your daily activities. So again, today's presentation is entitled Reset Your Internal Compass, Wellness in the Face of Uncertainty. And it's really focused on strategies to sustain wellness. Our overall intention today is to create a space in which we can engage in some simple activities to provide you some additional tools to help cope with the uncertainty that we're all facing right now. And our hope is that in this space, we can create an opening for both inspiration, but as well as just offer you a brief respite from your day in general. So we'd like to start by just introducing ourselves. And so as you might be able to decipher by our last names, we are indeed married. And so it may look, as you see our video, that we're not socially isolating. We have
social distancing.
Social distancing. Yeah. We actually have been in the same house for we're going on week 11, but we're really looking forward to presenting this together. So I'm the director of the Behavioral Health and Wellness Program, which is a whole health program at the University of Colorado Anschutz Medical Campus in the Department of Psychiatry. And our group operates across the nation, offering different kinds of wellness trainings and so forth. And Cindy can explain a little more about what we do.
Yeah, so I'm Cindy Morris, and I'm the clinical director at BHWP. And my training background is that I'm a clinical psychologist, and I specialize in health behavior change, and in particular using motivational interviewing to help support that change. And I'm a motivational interviewing network of trainers, certified trainer as well. And we develop a lot of programs and trainings across that we offer across the country for providers and other clinicians and professionals to work more effectively with the people that they serve. So welcome, we're so pleased to be here with you.
So we're going to kind of just go back and forth and trade off. So, but I'm going to start by just setting the foundation, and before we get into some activities and so forth, and generally just talk about kind of where we're at right now and where we hope to go over the next hour as well. But really, we've been through a series of stages, and we break these up in three different stages right now. First, really starting for a lot of us in March with the realization that the pandemic was really going to affect us severely and impact our lives. I think most of us experienced some fear there, some fear for our own health and safety, some fear for our families, our colleagues' health and safety, but just a lot of basic health and safety needs around how are we going to meet our basic needs, what are we going to need as we start to quarantine. And so that restricting our movement was that list of all the things we couldn't find that we were building, like toilet paper and sanitation products and stuff in that regard, and food. And so that was kind of the initial impact, if you will. And then we're really kind of moving into this area of uncertainty and adaptation. And so we might be feeling more secure in our daily routines, but really at the same time, I think a lot of us are feeling really more uncertain in a lot of regards about what the future is going to bring, when the quarantine is going to end. Are we going to have a stable job? I mean, a lot of us might have lost our jobs at this point, or we've been furloughed. So there's that whole range of what's going on with folks, how we're going to take care of our kids, and basically how our whole lives going to be transformed by what we're going through right now, because they will be transformed. Um, and so what's going to happen in the next weeks, months, year, and how that is going to impact, that is very much on our minds right now. And so we're really trying to adapt. I think a lot of us are, we're doing the best we can. There's still a lot of uncertainty. We're doing what we can to cope and adapt to these changes as they arise. But as we adjust to the new normal, it's just, we're going to continue to experience a lot of stress. And we're going to do our best to push through this. But there's so much we're doing right now. I don't know about you, but when I talk to people, and I'm going to speak for myself, so you can kind of where you're coming from, but it's amazing how much busier that I've been being a non-essential personnel working at home, how much busier I've been trying to just maintain the various things that I need to get done during the day, whether it's at work with the kids, etc. So it's had a huge impact, and it really has gotten in the way at times of taking the time, because of all the energy and the competing demands, to really focus on my own emotional needs and support, and really trying to be aware myself in this, add to that. So basically, more than ever, it's a really good time to do what we can to start taking care of ourselves. And obviously, our stresses aren't going to go away. They're not going to go away for quite some time. And so in order to have really the internal resources we need, the awareness we need to help ourselves, the people we serve, our families, patients, etc., we really need to, at this point, do our due diligence about creating that space for ourselves to maintain our balance and really process our emotions and nourish our spirit.
Yeah.
And so it's completely understandable right now to feel some level of distress. If you don't have some level of distress, you're in a very small, maybe it doesn't exist, minority of people right now. So, and often, I often feel very optimistic about the future. But at the same time, and then it can be in the same day, I can feel sad, depressed, helpless, out of control. And so the first thing we would just like to emphasize is that this is absolutely normal, and to be experiencing this. And really the first thing we can do, and hopefully through some of these short exercises, is really to acknowledge that these thoughts and emotions are expected, and they are a human response to unpredictable circumstances. So that's kind of where we're all at being human. And once we accept that we're gonna face some degree of struggle in this regard, being our mental well-being and our emotional well-being, that's just inherent to being alive right now. That's when we have the opportunity to start building our wellness practices, and that's really going to have a ripple effect across, again, our families, our colleagues, our communities, the patients we serve. And once we really focus on ourselves, it also helps us build better empathy for those around us. And a lot of those folks might be having a lot more difficulties functioning in their daily life than us, or we ourselves might be, having some psychiatric issues, but really helping those that might be actually, really having severe psychiatric issues that are popping up that they need assistance with. So, when you're on a plane and you're always told that when that oxygen mask comes down, the first thing you got to do is put it on your own head and make sure it's working. And then you can help others. And we look at wellness as very much the same thing, in the same way, is that you're really not going to be in a position to help others if you're not helping yourselves. And often I think from, often providers, service providers, public health, this is hard for us, but this is not selfish. In fact, this is the opposite of selfish right now. So because when we are mentally strong, taking care of ourselves, that's when we're going to be better able to assist in those around us, but also at the same time maintain healthy boundaries, which is really, really difficult right now. And we're going to kind of come back to that a little bit. So modeling self-care is taking care of others. I'll say it again, modeling self-care is taking care of others. And this is a multifaceted approach. I mean, wellness is different for different people. It can include things like physical wellness, of course, but a lot of other dimensions. It can be things like your social life, your spirituality, or really finances, emotional, which we're definitely going to get into, intellectual wellness, occupational wellness. So those are a lot of the dimensions there. So whether you have 5 minutes in your day or you have more extended time, you really can build a personal practice that's going to strengthen your overall wellness. So we really want to get to that question today, start asking it, what do you need to be well personally? And we're going to take some time today to explore that question. And so Cindy's just going to start by kind of centering us a little bit.
Okay, so let's just take a moment here to engage in an activity that takes seconds, and we're doing it all day, but we want to do it mindfully right now, which is deep breathing. You know, it's one of the simplest and most effective strategies that we can use, and we can be anywhere, anytime practicing it. So if you can, I'd like you to shift your body into a comfortable seated position. And I want you to be aware of any feelings of tension you may be holding. Drop your shoulders if they are raised. Release your jaw. And just relax your muscles throughout your body. I want you to place one hand on your chest and the other hand on your stomach. And as you take a slow, deep breath in through your nose, pay attention to whether your stomach or chest raises first. If your breathing is shallow, you may only feel your chest lifting. Focus on taking a deep breath that lifts both your stomach and then your chest. Once you are able to take a full and complete breath in this way, practice taking several slow, long, deep breaths. Inhale gently through your nose and out your mouth. And as you exhale, blow the air out through your mouth. And as you take each breath, focus your attention on the sound and the experience in your body. Envision any tensions of the day easing gently away with each exhale. And now let's turn to focus on resetting your compass. And as Chad was saying, you know, when we're under a lot of stress, and when you're under a lot of stress, it's easy to lose your way. There are those old unhealthy habits that might resurface, or new healthy habits that might just fall away. And of course, we're living in a whole new world of uncharted territory. And in order for us to be able to navigate this new terrain, we really need to reset our internal compass. And so what do I mean by this? So from my perspective, I think it's so important to tune in to your emotions. And when we tune in, we can listen to its guidance. Our emotions help us to know when we have reached our limit. They tell us what we want, our preferences, our desires, our boundaries, any goals that we might have. And our emotions let us know how close or far we are from where we want to be. And we need to pay attention to these emotions in order to hear its guidance. And we know that it's not just about our emotions, that our everyday experiences are really an interplay between our thoughts, our feelings, and behaviors. And depending on who you are and your own unique tendencies, one or two of these might be where you spend most of your time and attention. I know that for me, I tend to be a real thinker and doer, and so the feelings can easily just fall by the wayside. So I want you to think about some of these questions. Are you someone who focuses your energies on thinking things through, maybe even to the point of perseverating on things? Are you someone who approaches situations from a rational or logical perspective? Are you a doer or fixer, somebody who takes action? Or maybe you are somebody who leads with your emotions. And regardless of what your specialty area is, you switch through between all of these, your thoughts, feelings, and behaviors throughout the day. And each of these needs attention. And we know that when we're thinking about changing any behavior, that as you change one area, say a behavior, it affects things, your thoughts and feelings as well. And when we're talking about coping strategies, one thing you want to think about is what we call goodness of fit. And the strategy should match the situation that you're in. And right now, we're in this time of uncertainty, of not feeling within control sometimes in our different situations. And so in this case, it is important to work on developing those emotional and meaning-focused interventions because there are a lot of things that are outside our control. And when I say emotion-focused coping strategies, we're talking about changing the way a person feels or thinks about a stressful situation without actually being able to change the situation. And similarly, the meaning-focused strategies are those that are directed at using the stressful situation to create meaning and understand yourself. And this is something that I really value. And of course, the reason why we are calling attention to the importance of feelings is that I think many people tend to push aside their feelings. They don't want to feel any uncomfortable feelings and wondering why something's coming up, and do all that they can to distract themselves and maybe avoid these feelings. And that can be a real mistake because it is when we don't listen to our feelings, we miss out on hearing from our internal guidance. And so let's turn to, how do you feel? How do you feel right now? As I was saying before, your emotions are your guide to understanding your reactions to situations. They help you clarify what you do and do not want. And being able to take time to recognize and label your feelings can support your well-being. So I want you to look at and consider the following list of feeling words. And I want you to choose one word that best describes how you feel right now. And if your feeling word is not listed below or on the slide, feel free to just choose whatever word you're feeling. And we would love to have you share your feeling with us so we can get a sense of where you all are at in the spectrum of feelings that are going on for you right now by using the chat function. And if you can choose me, Cindy Morris, to share your chat, we would love to hear how you're feeling.
And that way it's anonymous if you're sending it to Cindy. We can just share some of that out.
We have someone who's feeling grateful right now. curious, feeling lost, tired. This one we
Mhm.
all know.
I think loss really hits home too.
Yeah, discouraged.
Mhm.
Someone else who's tired. Someone who's hopeful, overwhelmed, uncertain, exhausted, challenged. So there's a real diversity and range to all of our feelings. And thanks to you all who have shared with us how you're feeling. Um, we certainly feel similarly.
So I think that's just a great exercise, stopping, trying to really label what your feelings are, and we just don't do that very often, or it seems so simple in some regards, but it's not to do that practice. And so in order to listen to your emotions and let alone reset your internal compass, we just need to be mindful, present, and aware, and that's part of what you've just been doing. So that's exactly where we're going today. But I think everyone's kind of heard this word mindfulness and awareness, and it's really quite the buzzword right now, and it's incredibly important. But it can be difficult to know what that really looks like for each individual, and that's fine. For some people, it really involves uh, sitting down, deep breathing. For some people, it's medication, or not medication, but meditation rather, if you're so inclined. Some people just aren't attracted to meditation. So it's really just finding a practice that really works for you. It could be physical activity, it could be walking, just checking in with yourself as walking, journaling, and any other number of other behaviors. But it's most important to be aware. So any behaviors you engage in, you're doing with focus and attention. I know that there's famous people like Thich Nhat Hanh, who's a kind of leader in mindfulness, that he says, well, he really tries to do it when he's washing dishes. That's his moment of one of the ways that he checks in with himself at that point in time. So what we'd like to do in this regard is just introduce you to one skill that is very helpful in assessing your own where you are in mindfulness, and it's called the Mindful Attention Awareness Skill, the MOS for short. And so and what you're seeing are all of the items right now on that scale. And we're not going to go over all these, or are going to ask you to read through all these at the moment. In fact, we're going to just a second, we're going to bring up three, and one is up there right now. But really, what we want you to do is with this is, well, throughout the scale, what you do is you rate yourself from a 1 to 6, and indicate how frequently or infrequently you're having this experience. And if you're closer to 6, it's kind of an indication that you're more mindful in that regard. And so we're just going to put up 3 of these
We have the first
questions
one up.
and the first one's up. So if you can just go ahead and put your anonymous answer to that, and then we're just kind of do this poll for a few seconds and see where the attendees are at on this. It would be interesting for a few of these. As you're answering this, what we're going to do too is in a little bit we'll introduce you to 2 resources. They're toolkits that you can download for free. And so this assessment, as well as all sorts of different interventions that helps you self-assess where you're at with your well-being, you can this is included in that, and it will allow you to take this full scale if you'd like to. So do we want to see where end this poll and see where people
Yeah.
stand?
Okay, if you haven't already chosen
Last
one,
chance.
we're ending the poll now.
Let's see where people are. So it's looking like.
So I'm going to share the results with everyone.
So you should be seeing these. If you're not seeing them, chat and let us know. But
it looks like very infrequently, which is great, is the highest one. However, there are people across from almost always, very frequently, somewhat frequently, somewhat infrequently.
So quite a range.
Yeah, so for quite a range.
Let's try another one. So we're going to stop sharing this poll and see if we can pull up
the next
one.
Okay, so this next one is, I tend not to notice feelings of physical tension or discomfort until they really grab my attention. So if you could rate yourself on the following scale.
Okay. Give people a few more seconds. Let's go ahead and end this poll.
Okay.
Let's see where we're at, but it's looking like we see it. Well, there were two, but again, quite a mix. But it's interesting. People are doing, they're doing fairly well, or somewhere in the middle. So maybe this is something that a lot of people could practice or integrate into their focus with their wellness practice.
Okay,
let's do one more.
Oops. Okay, we'll do the last one, which is, I forget a person's name almost as soon as I've been told it for the first time. So if you could rate yourself on that.
Okay. A few more seconds. Okay, let's go ahead and end the poll on this one. You all are making me feel a lot better on this one, because when Cindy put this up, she knew that this is one of my issues, that I have real difficulty.
Well, so do I.
Attending to and being aware and present when someone introduces themselves, and I almost never, the first time around, remember their first name. So that's something that I've been really trying to work on. But it looks like, so there's a lot of
somewhat frequently.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you.
Thanks for
for
playing
sharing
on that. So that's just one example of a skill that would be helpful, and just over time you could assess your own, where you're at in your mindfulness. And so as we go on to just some kind of basic tips of integrating mindfulness into your lives, I'll name a few of these, and then Cindy, maybe you can speak to a few of these points on here. But really what we've been doing already, which is so important in this hour together, is creating space. That's just such a key, is scheduling a space and creating that physical, emotional, and mental time when you can check in, reserve some time, whether it's meditating, doing some of these assessments, going to the workshop.
Yeah, but I also think, throughout our days, there's these segments, whereas right now we're in this webinar. After this hour, we're going on to something else. And as we transition between these segments, it's good to be able to stop, even for a moment, to refocus yourself for the next activity.
Yeah. And, personally, I kind of have been practicing doing that when I'm stuck at a train, which happens frequently in Fort Collins where we live, or you're in a grocery line or something like that. So the other piece of what we've been doing is just being aware. So we're creating that space and practicing being aware, and really making that choice to live mindfully. And so often we're on autopilot, which I completely get. And this is just a chance to check in with yourself. You want to talk about interacting with others?
Yeah, and I think this is in particular a challenge in this time. I know I've had certainly more virtual sessions than anything in person, but I think it's so important to be able to share our experiences in really a meaningful way, more than just talking about the day-to-day kinds of things, but about your emotions, how you're feeling, what's going on for you, the different stressors that you might be um, experiencing, and being able to get some feedback and um,
But I know
exchange with people.
something that we've heard a lot from friends, and I tend to get into too, is you start with these thoughts and these cognitive loops and negative thoughts about what might happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if I lose my job, then I'm going to lose my house, and on and on and on, leading to these really negative feelings. And really being able to connect with folks that can help you talk through that and challenge that a little bit. So that's just one example that
Yeah.
I think is frequently happening right now.
Mm-hmm. And then the next thing on this list is setting your intention. I think um, in in order to really live mindfully, we need to make a choice. We need to prioritize it, and as with any other skill, we need to um, be focused and commit to making it a reality. And then, of course, the last one, practice. I feel like I've been doing this for so many years, and I continue to find new ways to practice. Because sometimes some things work, and then like those unhealthy habits can just creep back in, and then you choose to be mindful again, and um, practice really accepting where you're at and being non-judgmental about it.
I think a lot of what we're talking about on the face of it can seem so simple in a lot of respects, and it's just not. And so that's why it is called a practice, because we just need to do it over and over again to integrate it into our lives fully.
And we also know that it's important to, especially in this time where our uh, personal and family life and our work world has really just collided, it's important to know what your limits are so that we can keep healthy boundaries. We're being called on every day to do things in new ways. And in terms of this resetting our internal compass, this is part of it. What are our limits, and what are some of the boundaries we might want to set right now? So what we'd like you to do is think about what are some of the signs and symptoms that tell you you're reaching your limit. What do you notice in yourself, in your experience, that tells you you're getting close? So if you could share through the chat function, and we can maybe get some ideas from folks of what you like to pay attention to know where you're at. So someone's mentioning irritability, isolation, really getting impatient and not able to tolerate other people, getting angry at small things, having a lot of neck and shoulder tension, breathing's more difficult, feeling more tired at the end of the day, having troubles focusing, anxiety, which causes more wine drinking, being irritable, not having patience with other people. Yeah, so there are a lot of these emotional signs and symptoms, as well as behavioral and thinking, ability to focus, all of that.
I might cry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Really feeling like crying, and
chocolate cravings.
Chocolate
like
cravings. Yeah. Yes,
this is
you
true.
have experienced that.
Yeah, I had that last night.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. It's wonderful to see how aware you all are of what your limits are and being able to listen to what your body, your behaviors, your thoughts, and emotions tell you. Okay. Thank you so much. And now we want to shift a little bit to our next activity. And when you think about as you move through your day, we shift from one task to another, one thought to the next, often without very much consideration for what our internal experience is. We may be, our attention can be drawn to whatever the external stimuli is, whichever is most pressing, immediate, or demanding, or maybe it's just the next item on your list or schedule. And so it's a rare thing to just be able to stop. Stop for a moment of contemplation, stop to check in with your physical and emotional state, and stop to set your next intention. So let's take a moment now to stop. And I'd like you to stand up or sit with your feet flat on the ground. And as you do so, shake out your limbs and loosen any stiffness you might feel. Place your hands down by your side. Straighten your spine and hold your head straight with your chin up. Place your feet shoulder width apart and close your eyes or soften your gaze. As you focus your attention and energy on the ground beneath your feet, feel your connection with the earth. Focus your attention on this connection as you take several slow, deep breaths, breathing in and out. And feel your exchange of energy with the earth. You feel grounded and balanced. Draw in nourishment from the earth's abundance. Continue to breathe deeply and with intention, inhaling in and out. Now I'd like you to tune into your body. In your mind's eye, scan your body, starting at your feet, grounded as they are to the earth, and move upwards towards your head. As you do so, notice any physical or emotional sensations in your body. You may notice some discomfort, pain, or tension. Observe without judgment. And as you continue to take slow, deep breaths, discharge any unpleasant sensations, emotions, or feelings as you exhale. And when you inhale, notice any pleasant sensations, emotions, or feelings, and allow them to fill you up. And take several deep breaths in this way. And now it's time to observe. Gently open your eyes and take a look at your surroundings. Do it with intention and perceive your environment from a new perspective. Allow your eyes to move from object to object. Notice colors, textures, and shapes of the things that surround you. And observe something in your environment that pleases you. Take a moment to focus on it. Feel appreciation for it and its beauty. And now let's turn to possibility. Consider all the possibilities life offers you. Ask yourself, what is possible? Or what is something new or a forward step you want to take? While the possibilities are endless, pay attention to what comes most immediately to your mind. And take a moment to note or write the possibility you want to focus on in the next hours, days, or weeks. And hold this possibility in your mind like a beacon calling you ever closer. And now that we've taken a moment to stop in your day, use this activity as often as you remember to, or just parts of it. So there's the standing up or sitting in place and grounding yourself, tuning into your physical and emotional experiences, observe your environment, and finally, consider the possibilities you want to focus on in the moment. This activity is simple yet powerful in terms of being able to create awareness and to live with intention regardless of what else might be going on. Okay.
Thanks, Cindy.
Yeah.
So along with this type of activity, again, we had mentioned that there's a variety of resources out there that are that you can go and get easily. So we have a link there on our website for some of our toolkits, and one's named Work and Wellbeing for Physicians. Another is Work and Wellbeing for Addiction Professionals. And don't get caught up in those titles because really the ideas and so forth, some of it's focused kind of more on the world of work, some on the word of your other aspects of your life and that balance. But the different types of activities and skills and ideas here aren't something we just gathered. Well, what is evidence-based out there and proven, and it really operates across different occupations. And I mean, if you're a parent, if you're in public health, if you're a school teacher, all these kinds of ideas are going to be generalizable across those areas. So don't get caught up in the titles. Please do take a look. And we have a variety of other resources on our website as well. In addition to that, I really just wanted to, I mean, there are so many resources out there, but I just wanted to point out two that I think are really nicely done. The first is through the Department of Psychiatry at the University of Colorado. The link is there, and they just have spent a lot of time and energy pulling together a lot of nice resources. So everything from how you can focus on your own wellness, how you can help your families, your children, how you can focus on your patients, a lot of mindfulness types of activities, but a whole range of things, and then additional links and different resources that can be used on campus and beyond, as far as some of the peer-to-peer counseling that's available, a variety of other things going on. So please do check that out. I think it's a really nice resource. The other resource out there that just kind of generally collects everything, and it's the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, or SAMHSA's page. So that's the national helpline. But if you go to the website as well, again, they just are pulling a lot of different resources both for you, for your loved ones, for those you're serving, that have a variety of different intensity or severity of need. So like the suicide hotline is on there as well. So please do check those out. And so that's where we wanted to end. We'll put up our contact information, but we really wanted to just kind of end and make sure we had about 10 minutes or so, probably looking at about 10 minutes or so, to get your impressions of today, good or bad, whatever your perspective is, and any thoughts you'd like to share about what might be working for you, or questions. So we just want to open it up, and so if you would please use your chat function, and our team will also help us if we're not seeing some of the chats, help chime in and guide us. And maybe there's some things in Q&A I don't know as well, but I think Amy, is it Amy? That's Amy from our team is going to help in that respect. So please chime in.
So we have someone sharing that it's great to hear that the experience that they're having is just not them. I think this is a good example of the benefit of interacting with others, even through this webinar format, to know we're not alone.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you.
And it doesn't matter who you are. I feel like a lot of providers, particularly public health folks, etc., we just feel like everyone else is kind of pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, taking care of themselves. They're not having the same issues. It's just not absolutely not the case. Like I said, I feel like if you're not having some level of stress and some level of what we've been talking about, that I would actually say you're probably in denial.
And we have someone who's really appreciating this presentation, and I really enjoyed how interactive and relaxing it is. So, and we do have a question from someone about if they'll be able to get a copy of the presentation. Yes. With the information in it.
Sure. So absolutely. Our team is great at getting our links up on our website right away. And so I don't know, Amy or Jim, you can chime in on, are they going to get the link, the attendees, are they going to get that sent directly, or do we know?
I will, this is Amy. I will send out an email with instructions on how to access the presentation once it's posted.
Thank you, Amy.
And we have someone else who's appreciating the webinar, and it's helpful in a stressful day.
And it seems like a lot of them are stressful. Thank you.
And someone's observing the dissonance between the beautiful weather we have outside, yeah, and then dealing with this crisis and pandemic, and being able to hold both of those things at the same time.
It is a real dissonance. Mm-hmm. I mean, I would say just personally for me, one of the things that's so impactful, and I did it even just before this talk, is I need to walk outside and really be in nature and understand, put what we're going through in a greater context, but also really interacting with the beauty around me and realizing that what we're going through is only one aspect. Yeah. That's just my personal, what works for me, but yeah, it is a real dissonance right now.
Well, and I think too, just what I see in the people that I interact with and work with is just so much courage, and to show up every day and to continue to do whatever work they do, mm-hmm, and focus on themselves so they can be better to help the people, mm-hmm, that they're helping. So I think there's such beauty in this dissonance as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anything else anyone would like to share? Thank you.
Yeah, someone's observing about how helpful it is to acknowledge what they're grateful for, and it really can help lift your mood. Um, and that this experience is validating and it helps you feel normal. Um, and somebody really liked the beauty in dissonance. Thank you so much.
And one thing I would say about that too is that, and Cindy and I talk about this a lot, is that really acknowledge, and along with dissonance, really paying mind to contrast in your life, and what's, the pros, the cons, what's working, what's not working. But it really does make you appreciate so much what is coming your way, what you can attract your way, what you're attending to, basically, when you attend to the contrast.
And that contrast helps us to really focus and be aware of what it is that we want, especially when we're seeing things that we don't want.
Mm-hmm. So it's really setting that P, if you will, the intention.
Yeah. Yeah, we have someone who's used our physician wellness toolkit with clients and students and residents. So we're glad to hear that it's out there and helping people. So
it's always good to know that something you put together is being used. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you all so much. Right, should we?
Yeah, I think that that's a nice ending, and we just really appreciate you spending some time with us. It's helpful to us as well. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we wanted to create this moment, this break for you all to have in the middle of your day. So thank you for being with us.
Yeah. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you, everyone.